Hello everyone, my name is Liana Williams, and the topic I have chosen to discuss with you is divergent thinking. This video will answer 3 questions about it. What, why, and how. Divergent thinking is the ability to generate several solutions or responses to a given problem or task. The stimulus is presented, and then we use our creativity to come up with as many potential answers as we can in order to find multiple responses that we're happy with. So let's look at a couple examples to see if we can really dig into this concept a little bit more. How would you describe these objects? So the first one looks to be a little obvious. We all know what that is. And the first couple of potential answers may be obvious, like a dog. It is a dog. It is a Doberman, actually. You could go through some other ones. You might have some pointy ears or brown spots over the eyes. But as you keep going, your list starts to turn into the less obvious stuff, like many breeds, or multi-skilled, keen senses, hairy. Hairy's one of the obvious ones, I think. All of these responses are accurate potential answers for this stimulus, which was, how would you describe this object? What about the second picture? How would you describe that picture? It's less obvious. Some might say it's colorful. Smudged paint, perhaps. I personally see a butterflied representation of the larynx. For those of you who know what a larynx looks like, you might see it too. I don't know, like the blue part looks like the thyroid cartilage. Google it, folks. Anyway, some might see just abstract art. Somebody might see a mirrored image of a squirrel climbing a tree. I don't know. But while it's not obvious, all of those are still potential answers for the stimulus. The idea is creativity and thinking out of the box. Now for this third picture, I want you to pause for a second and see if you can come up with a few potential responses for how you would describe that. Now, I think, just like the other two, you may come up, the first 2 or 3 might be a little obvious, but as you continue to think about it, your creativity will start to sink in. And the funny thing about that is you'll start to come up with responses that might just surprise you, like, yeah, that is what that looks like. So pause here for just a second and see how many you can come up with and how creative you can get with how to describe that third photo. So looking into more application of divergent thinking, how might teachers use divergent thinking to teach music concepts? So in this example, our stimulus is going to be teaching the pentatonic scale. And teaching the pentatonic scale may seem simple. So some potential answers might be you can teach it through solfege syllables, or you can teach it through numbers, or you can teach it through this. Now this is a YouTube video of Bobby McFerrin teaching the pentatonic scale to audience members, and this is actually at a science conference. And I'm going to play it here, but I'm also going to put the link to the video in the discussion. So if you want, the sound might not be the best through here, so you can go and take a look at it at your leisure. But we're going to play it now. So Bobby McFerrin is really utilizing a creative way of teaching the pentatonic scale. And after this, after where I just stopped at the end of the video, he says that he presents this at so many different places and with so many different audiences, and it never fails. Every single audience is able to understand this concept of movement and the pentatonic scale once he guides them through it. And so it's always successful. And I think that that is a really phenomenal way of teaching the pentatonic scale. And I think it's appropriate to use as a potential answer for teaching the pentatonic scale for us teachers who have to teach it. So why do we need divergent thinking? Why can't we just teach a concept one way and be done with it? It doesn't always work that way. So when we're trying to answer a specific question or find a solution to a problem, the more possibilities we develop and, figure out, the higher the chances that we'll come up with an idea that makes the most sense or that we like. Or there may be a few or a couple that we may not have immediately come up with. So looking back at this Bobby McFerrin video, there was a moment, this is an answer to the why do we need it question. So let's say that Bobby McFerrin, there was a moment in the video where he took two of his feet and he separated them so that he was on two separate notes. And the audience didn't really know what to do with that. They're like, what do we sing? Which note do we sing? There were two. And I actually wonder, because he started harmonizing even later in his improv, he started harmonizing, and I'm wondering if he was trying to get them to harmonize. I digress. So let's stick with this first example. So he it seemed like he was trying to get them to harmonize. Well, it makes me wonder what of our other potential answers might he have been able to utilize to teach harmonization using the pentatonic scale. My first thought is probably numbers. Numbers might be the easiest way to go, then solfege with that type of audience. Had he had a little more time, he may have been able to, using numbers and the process that he had, like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. No, that's not it. Da 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 da. He could have used numbers to figure out a way to harmonize. But he couldn't quite do it. I think he tried to do it immediately with the 2 feet thing, and it didn't quite work the way he wanted to. So anyway, I think that would have worked actually, using the 2 concepts to teach harmony, and I think it would have been successful with music majors and non-music majors. So, we've answered what divergent thinking is. We've answered why we need it, why it's so important to have many, many options. Finally, how? How do we stimulate divergent thinking into our students? So I think that the key to stimulating this habit, this way of thinking into our students, is by supporting and allowing creativity and out of the box thinking. It's fun for them, and it's fun for us, and it's exciting for us to see how much their minds and their creativity can open. So these are a few ways that I thought would be fun and interesting ways that our students could utilize divergent thinking. Fun brainstorming. So what I mean by that is having students deliberately come up with crazy and off-the-wall ideas to answer a stimulus. Sometimes it won't make sense, but the more potential answers we come up with, or give them the freedom to search for, we might find a few that actually make sense. So an example of that is perhaps having a picture of Louis Armstrong and prompting the students with, create a song title for this photo. You can even go further and have them make up a melody line for the song you might be playing. I don't know. Just an idea. Some ways of prompting this creativity might be through storyboarding, songwriting, creative writing, or even having the students create mnemonics. Improvisation is another thing that I thought of, which Bobby McFerrin utilized in the video that I showed you. With my private students, I sometimes have them sing certain songs in differing styles. So sometimes they can find new vocal colors. Sometimes it even develops new character options that they didn't even know about. Another way is by asking open-ended questions to your students. The key to this is not offering them solutions. So having them think as long as they possibly can and think, exhausting the possibilities of their own minds. And then that leads me into making failure and success productive. Success is naturally a productive thing, but failure can also be a success as well. If there is a problem, not just giving your students the answer, but prompting them to think of how to correct the problem or how to further develop the answer to the problem. That way they're able to talk themselves into continuing to expand these possible answers that they come up with. So an activity to leave you with is this Louis Armstrong photo, and I want you to see if you can think of 3 song titles that match this photo. I look forward to reading your responses. Thanks so much for watching.